So today we got some pretty unfortunate news revolving around Alex Pereira, our current UFC light heavyweight champion. He's being accused of SA. I can't say that actual word for it or else this video will get demonetized, but it's very, very gruesome stuff that this woman has come out and alleged over him. Now, I'll break down her story, give you the cliff notes real quick before I dive into my personal opinion and whether or not we'll see anything further from this. So the woman who came out and made these claims against Alex Pereira goes by the name of Mary G. Brown on TikTok. She's made several posts basically detailing, breaking down exactly what happened that night between her and Alex Pereira. This took place apparently 2 months ago after the UFC 302 event, which I do believe Alex Pereira was in the crowd for that fight. I don't know for sure exactly, but I assume he was in the crowd for that fight. Otherwise, his whole claim would probably be not much of anything. But from what she has detailed, apparently his interpreter named Mel reached out to her friend, which then got her into contact with Alex Pereira. Her and her friend then went on to meet up with Alex Pereira at the gym that he was training at during that time. After the training was done, they apparently went outside where she alleges that Alex Pereira tried to kiss her and she turned him down. Then later on in the night, she alleges that they had plans to go out to party that night at some bars, at some strip clubs. So she then went on to meet Pereira at his hotel. They wouldn't do anything at that hotel, and apparently Pereira had booked a different hotel at the Marriott just for them two and his interpreter and her friend. They would end up going back to that hotel at the Marriott, where he then would cancel the plans of going out entirely. He would order food for himself and get himself ready, took his clothes off, then went into the bed and invited her to cuddle with him, which she then would go on to cuddle with him. Now, with this cuddling is where things get a little bit more graphic for Alex Pereira and damning for Alex Pereira. Apparently, he was trying to make numerous advances towards her lower regions while she would continuously deny him from touching her. After a little bit of time, Alex Pereira would then stand up, get out of bed, and start screaming at his interpreter and her friend to get out so it could only be just them two. Keep in mind, she did detail how she was very intimidated of Alex Pereira because he was a big, strong Brazilian man who spoke no English, so she couldn't even communicate properly with him. And she felt the only way for this to be done and over with is just by giving him what he wants. So then he would go in to this woman, trying to be as not graphic as possible, but then he would go in and he would say in English if he could put it in a certain region of her body, which she did not say anything to because she was too nervous. So then Alex Pereira proceeds to put it in there anyways. So that's pretty much the whole extent of the story. I urge you to go to her own TikTok and look at what she actually says in those videos, because she does get more graphic and more detailed, way more than what I can provide on YouTube. Her full story is there as well. So you can pretty much see everything by just going to her TikTok page. That is Mary_G_Brown on TikTok if you are curious. Now, getting into my whole opinion about this whole situation, I don't want to say anything just yet. There really isn't any evidence, and we have to kind of sit here and just wait for more things to come out. There isn't really anything that is concrete proof that they had even had any sort of relations with each other. The only evidence that we have that they were even with each other was the picture after the gym. Apparently, Pereira wanted to get a picture with her, so that's another thing that she claims that happened. But there's no security footage of them in the hotel with each other. She said that she's trying to reach out to get that security footage, but we have no concrete, clear evidence of exactly what happened. So I don't want to come out here and say she's lying for sure, and I don't want to say that Alex Pereira for sure did this because, again, we don't know for sure yet. But if I had to tell you my opinion of my initial thought of this, it seems pretty genuine. Now, again, I don't know exactly what's happened without any concrete evidence. So I'm still open to being, I'm still open to this being completely false. And I know she's an OF model and she does very risky things on her TikTok and Instagram, but that doesn't mean that she's not susceptible to this sort of thing. Even though I do disagree with the fundamental idea of being a worker in that sort of field, I don't think that this is something that can be justified because she is that. So could she be lying? Yes. Could she be telling the truth? Yes. However, I think in her story, I think there's something she is kind of leaving out that she doesn't want to say outright. I feel like we're missing a certain key piece in her story that can really give us a lot of information revolving around this, because again, she knew that Pereira had intentions, sexual intentions with her after they left the gym. So why would you go back to the hotel? If you've been pretty clear with this man by denying his kiss that you don't want to have anything done sexually with him, even beforehand, you even told him that you wanted to have some time before you guys did anything sexual at all. So why would you then proceed to go to the hotel? So I do think there's some sort of motive that she had that led her back to the hotel with Alex Pereira. Now, what could that be? I have literally no idea. Maybe she wanted to get Alex Pereira onto her OF page and maybe things fell out in the agreement terms of that. That could be a possibility. But that right there is probably the only thing that I can think of that would lead her to be lying about this. Now, obviously, there could be clout reasons. Maybe she had a argument with Pereira afterwards, and maybe she just has some sort of disdain for him. But I don't really know if that really comes through in any of her videos that I'm watching or that I've seen. Again, she gets very graphic and very detailed in her whole description of what happened. So I am inclined to believe she is telling some level of the truth here. Just how much of the truth is she actually telling? I think the few arguments that I've seen that have been somewhat contradictory of her own story is the fact that she was at UFC 299 in the Sean O'Malley fight. And in her video, she stated that she had never been to a UFC event before, or that she had really no idea of what UFC really was. Don't quote me on that, but something along those lines. And the other argument that I saw was that his interpreter was there the entire time, or for the majority of the time. So it does look a bit sketchy with that, but then again, they could just be freaky. I don't know. They could just roll like that. Who knows? So again, I'll take the position of I think Pereira is innocent until proven guilty, until we start seeing some concrete evidence, some security cam footage of them two together at least. Then I'm going to assume that this is just a accusation, simply what it is. And to all the people who are on her TikTok page calling her names and calling her a liar, let's just chill, man. Let's just relax for 1 second. I know it's Alex Pereira. I know he's a fan favorite and stuff, but we can't go out here because what if she said is all true? What if everything she says in this entire video is completely the utter truth? And it comes out and you were the guy in her comment section calling her a flat out liar. We should relax with the comments. Just hear her story. You don't have to believe it. Just hear it for a second. If you think she's lying, that's perfectly okay. You're allowed to believe that, but don't just be like claiming she's a full out liar and that she's not telling the truth, because then you get into a gray area where you're just now a shitty person if it comes out to be true. It's okay to ask for evidence or for proof of what she's claiming. That's perfectly fair, but just calling her a bunch of names and calling her a flat out liar, I think is kind of jumping the gun a little bit too early on this. Now, do I think we're ever going to see anything come out of this? Probably not. I don't think she's going to be able to provide enough evidence to probably convict Pereira of this. I don't see Pereira getting any jail time. Maybe there might be some sort of civil lawsuit between this woman and Alex Pereira. If it does go that far, then maybe we can see some sort of evidence pop up. If it does go to trial, probably not. It might end up being just a settlement and we don't see anything that happens from this. Alex Pereira has not released a statement yet revolving around this. Hopefully he provides some clarity later down the line, maybe tomorrow, today, whatever time he wants to provide some evidence to clear this up would be amazing. And even if she does provide some sort of security cam footage for us, that pretty much only proves that she was with Pereira that night, not that anything actually happened. She would need to have a kit for that almost immediately afterwards for her to prove that that actually happened. So again, I think even with the evidence that she could present, unless it was really, really damning, I don't think that she could charge criminally Pereira of anything, which would not even be her, it'd be some sort of prosecutor. So I don't think Pereira is going to jail because of this, is what I'm trying to say, but there could be some sort of civil lawsuit that she files, and maybe she could use that evidence for him in a civil suit, just probably not a criminal one. So again, and finally, let's not jump the gun with this and just say everything's not true outright. We still need to see what she can provide evidence-wise in the future to really get a good grasp of this whole situation. And if you're on the opposite side and you believe this girl wholeheartedly, let's chill. Again, let's wait for some evidence to come out. This is not like Jon Jones. I've seen very few comments about people saying that they should keep the same energy that they had with Jon Jones, with Alex Pereira. This situation is a lot different than what Jon Jones did versus what Alex Pereira is allegedly has done. When it comes to Jon Jones, there was a whole police report with multiple witnesses, with multiple officers detailing how the wife looked, that even Jon Jones's own kid called the police on him. There's a lot of evidence and factual details in that police report of what John Jones did versus all we got is this woman's word when it comes to Alex Pereira. I assume this will devolve into a he said, she said sort of story. We'll see in the future what Alex Pereira has to say. This is really popping right now, so I assume Pereira will probably be forced to acknowledge this at some point. And if he is like completely innocent here, I do think he will acknowledge it and provide something that contradicts what she's saying. My phone just went off. So that's pretty much my whole take for this video. Not much really to it. I can't really go out here and just say that she's lying or that she's telling the truth because, again, that would be jumping the gun. I want to be kind of impartial and fence sit. That's really it in regards to this whole situation. I didn't want to provide too much of my input because, again, I don't know much. I know just as much as you do. There's not much evidence to really back up anything here, so I can't really make any sort of claim of innocence or guiltiness or nothing at all for the most part. So I'm sorry for being kind of impartial or fence sitting if you want to give me a bad negative term. So that's really about it. We'll see what happens in the next coming week, day, month, whatever time that something happens with Pereira. We'll see what evidence that comes out, but that's really it. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, bell notifications. I'll see you later. Peace.